Each Pokemon's design draws inspiration from a bunch of sources. So what's up fellas, my name is Matt, and today we're gonna look at the origins of some Pokemon. Alright, let's get started.
What's up, I'm Elias, and Galar's fossil Pokemon are up first today. Unlike the games that came before it, you have to combine 2 different fossils to revive a Pokemon, which will give you a funky hybrid. There are 4 fossils in the game, and there are 4 pairings that can be turned into Pokemon. Depending on which fossils you have, you can get yourself a Dracozolt, Dracovish, Arctozolt, or Arctovish.
These Pokemon are likely references to chimeras in paleontology. Sometimes people reconstruct an organism from multiple fossils, which paints a picture of something that never actually existed. One real-life example is the Archaeoraptor, which was believed to be a missing link that connected birds and dinosaurs. As it turns out though, the fossils belong to at least 3 different animals. The head came from a prehistoric bird, the tail came from a dinosaur called the Microraptor, and well, we still don't know about the legs.
Maybe the legs are from the missing link.
So what you're saying is this fraud fossil may have been onto something.
Yeah, they got a third of it right.
Alright, that's still an F, Elias.
2 fossils only include the bottom half of the Pokemon, namely the fossilized Drake and Dino. The top halves are the fossilized bird and fish, and each top and bottom pairing results in a different Pokemon. Like chimeras, it's unknown which Pokemon actually existed in prehistoric times, but their Pokédex entries are written as if all of them did.
There's an egg group called No Eggs discovered, which is where you'll find the Pokemon that can't breed at all. Most of the group consists of babies, legendaries, mythicals, ultra beasts, and paradox Pokemon, but there are a few other members, like Nidoqueen, Goldango, and Unknown. Dracovish and friends can't breed either, which could be a reference to hybrids.
If you breed 2 different species in real life, the offspring usually won't be able to reproduce. One of the most common real-life hybrids is the mule, which you get by breeding a male donkey with a female horse. Mules are usually sterile because they don't get the same number of chromosomes from each parent. Horses have 64 chromosomes, whereas donkeys have just 62.
In a similar vein, you get Arctozolt and company by smashing 2 fossils together. Once Kara Liss revives them for you, these Pokemon essentially act as hybrids. As for what animals they're based on, oh boy. The fossilized bird is most similar to Dromaeosaurids, spell that 5 times fast. The fossilized drake is based on Stegosaurids, the fossilized fish is based on the Dunkleosteus, and the fossilized dino take inspiration from reptiles, like Plesiosaurs and Ichthyosaurs. You know what, spell that whole sentence 5 times fast.
The unicorn, bro, the unicorn. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So true. No. Oh my god. Oh my god.
The worst fossil reconstruction in history. Gen 2 water types have a lot of funky stuff going on, but let's start with Remoraid and Octillery. These 2 Pokemon do not look like they're related, honestly. You wouldn't expect a fish to evolve into an octopus, but here we are. As it turns out though, these fellas have quite a few things in common. For starters, Remoraid and Octillery are both partially inspired by weapons. Besides being based on a fish called the Remora, Remoraid's design also alludes to firearms like revolvers, and we're demonetized. Oh well, show must go on. Remoraid is known as the sniper of the sea, and it uses its abdominal muscles to shoot water at its prey. Yeah, go figure. This little fish probably has better abs than you. That's you, Matt.
Hey!
From Gens 2 through 7, Remoraid's first 2 level up moves were Water Gun and Lock On, which makes a lot of sense considering the whole gun motif.
Meanwhile, Octillery's design is inspired by tanks, and our channel is deleted. That's reflected in its name too, because the ending comes from artillery. In the final games, Remoraid and Octillery don't look very much like these weapons, but some of their earlier designs paint a much clearer picture. Here's what they looked like in Gold and Silver's 1997 demo, which was shown off in Nintendo's annual Space World event.
Sorry, I'm eating food.
Today, Eliza's having poke.
I am. That's not the only connection Remoraid and Octillery share either. They're both based on animals with suction cups as well, which segues nicely into the next Pokemon we wanted to talk about. Remoraid has a symbiotic relationship with Mantine, although said relationship is almost entirely one-sided. Remoraid survives by clinging onto Mantine and traveling alongside it. It also feeds off of whatever leftovers Mantine leaves behind.
Remoraid's dorsal fin works as a suction pad, which is what allows it to stay attached. What does Mantine get in return? Squat. In fact, it mostly ignores any Remoraid that latch onto it entirely. But Mantine's pre-evolution Mantike was added in Gen 4, and it won't evolve after leveling up unless there's also a Remoraid in your party. So I don't know, man, maybe Mantine should be a little more grateful.
But wait, there's more. Aside from being a manta ray, Mantine also might be partially based on fighter planes, which ties in quite nicely with Remoraid and Octillery's origins. The circular patterns on its back could be a reference to roundels, which are circular symbols that can be seen on warplanes. The French military added roundels to their aircraft during World War I, and many other countries eventually followed suit. Some brands also use roundels as the basis of their logo, like Target and Tide. What do roundels actually do, other than, say, shoot here?
Not much. It's like a flag. Next up, let's take a look at Beedrill, or beef roll according to my autocorrect. That's what I get for trying to outline these scripts on my phone. Anyway, sometimes you'll hear people argue about whether Beedrill is based on bees or wasps. At the end of the day, though, both things can be true at the same time.
You know how to tell the difference between a bee and a wasp? A bee is yellow with black stripes, and a wasp is black with yellow stripes.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Aside from having the word bee in its English name, Beedrill is the poison bee Pokemon in the Pokedex, and that goes for the Japanese version of the game as well. It also collects pollen like bees do, according to Teddy Ursa's Dex entries. On the other hand, Beedrill's stingers are a prominent part of its design, and wasps are more likely to go out of their way to sting you. So some people will say beef roll is a bee, and others will say it's a wasp.
The difference between a bee and a wasp is wasps are jerks.
Basically, yeah. They'll remember you, and they'll come back and sting you for harassing them.
Here's the thing though, Pokemon aren't meant to be one-to-one representations of specific animals, or keychains. Oftentimes, they'll have some features that resemble one species, and other features that resemble another. One example we've partially covered on the channel before is Crabominable.
In one video, we said that it was inspired somewhat by the Yeti crab, which explains its name and the fact that it could learn Scald. Yeti crabs live near extremely hot vents underwater, so a move involving hot water makes perfect sense. But this guy also shares traits with the horseshoe crab and coconut crab.
In the same vein, Beedrill can absolutely be inspired by both bees and wasps. For that matter, the same goes for its Sinnohan second cousin, Vespiquen. Vespa is the Latin word for wasp, but its Japanese name is literally Bee Queen. Vespiquen seems to be based partially on queen bees and partially on queen wasps. When it comes to where Pokemon originate, there often isn't just one right answer.
To give another example, Eevee isn't meant to be a specific animal at all. As you can probably imagine, this was absolutely by design. Eevee was designed by Motofumi Fujiwara, a Pokemon designer who's worked on nearly every main series game. Satoshi Tajiri asked Fujiwara to create a Pokemon that evolves into multiple types, so he decided to make said Pokemon as plain as possible. That way, Eevee could function as a blank slate, and creating a bunch of distinct evolutions would be relatively easy.
New Gen 10 Pokemon, Eevee. It's just Eevee but bigger and it has 6 legs for some reason.
Oh, disgusting. Okay.
Eevee kind of resembles a bunch of different four-legged animals, like foxes, dogs, and cats. But it's not really meant to be any of those things. It exists in a quantum superposition between a bunch of animals, which holds true for a lot of other Pokemon too. Fujiwara was also the designer behind Jolteon and Flareon. Every other evolution was designed by Atsuko Nishida, from Vaporeon all the way to Sylveon.
I'm chewing.
Hi Chewing, I'm Matt.
Nice to meet you.
Wow.
Each Pokemon draws inspiration from a bunch of different places, because, I mean, the game would be a whole lot less interesting if they didn't. Imagine if Gen 10 came out and Game Freak said, this Pokemon is just a platypus. They don't do much, learns growl, yawn, and that's it. We're charging $120 for this game. You. No thanks. Nearly every design combines a bunch of different ideas, which helps make this series more dynamic.
Today's video isn't sponsored, but I wanted to shout out the 24-hour Game Show Marathon, a charity event run by some friends of the show.
On June 7th, 4 best friends and a bunch of their friends will pile into a TV studio in Philadelphia with buzzers, microphones, lights, and trivia to recreate 24 of their favorite game shows, streaming online, live and uncensored. It's the 12th annual 24-hour Game Show Marathon, raising $10,000 for Child's Play, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting children's hospitals around the world through the power of play. To learn more or to donate towards the $10,000 goal, go to GameShowMarathon.com.
Now let's take a look at Klefki. It's pretty clearly based on keychains and whatnot, but Game Freak had a more specific vision in mind when this bad boy was designed. Mana Ibe is a graphic designer at Game Freak, and she came up with the basic idea for Klefki. According to a Junichi Masuda interview, Klefki is inspired by old mansions and secret keys and such.
Klefki is a steel type for, well, fairly obvious reasons, but its fairy type could come from pagan folklore. It's said that fairies pull various pranks, such as tying children's and animals' hair into fairy locks. That could also be where Klefki's signature move, Fairy Lock, comes from. Fairies are also said to steal small items, so they'll be blamed when people's keys go missing, for example.
Bulbapedia also says Klefki is shaped like a musical clef, and I mean, kind of? But I think that one is a stretch. Its mouth is shaped like a keyhole, which also looks like a cleft lip. That's pretty fitting considering its name, but there's a huge rabbit hole there we don't have time for. A good chunk of Klefki's section today got cut for time, but we're gonna save it for another video about name origins. Eliza's been playing Super Smash Bros. Since the ripe old age of -4.
I would react to this joke that Matt is making right now, but he cut out in Discord again, so I can't hear him.
All right.
Wow, that's so funny.
Let's go.
Hey, let's take a look at another Gen 2 water type. I can explain. Delibird was originally an Ice Water type in Gold and Silver's Space World demo, but its typing was changed to Ice Flying in the final games. Honestly, we think that was for the best, because Gen 1 had a bunch of Ice Water types already. Cloyster, Lapras, Dugong all share that combination, so adding Delibird to that list in Gen 2 would be a little excessive.
That being said, Ice Water would also have been a logical combination, considering what Delibird is based on. Penguins are aquatic birds, and they're best known for living in cold climates like Antarctica. Delibird most closely resembles rockhopper penguins, but it also takes quite a few cues from Santa Claus. That's where Delibird gets its color scheme, as well as its sack-like tail and generous nature.
Delibird is capable of flying, even though penguins are famously flightless birds. That also ties into the idea that Pokemon aren't just clones of real-life animals. At the end of the day, Pokemon is a work of fiction, so Game Freak isn't bound by the real world's restrictions. In this case, Delibird's ability to fly definitely enhances its design, because Santa is often depicted flying through the sky with his reindeer.
In Gen 9, we got a Future Paradox version of Delibird. Iron Bundle is inspired by Robot Santa, a recurring character on Futurama. Okay, that's probably not true. But this guy's an Ice Water type, which could be a reference to Delibird's original typing. That also makes Iron Bundle the first penguin Pokemon to get the Ice Water combo. What's going on today?
I don't know. I'm tired. I'm asleep, actually.
Hi, Tired, I'm Matt. What are you dreaming about?
I feel like I'm reading a Pokemon script, but I know that I'm dreaming. As usual with videos like these, almost nothing we've said today has been confirmed by Game Freak. The information about Eevee came directly from interviews, and so did some of the Klefki section, but nearly everything else is just an educated guess. There's tons of content out there about Pokemon origins, and it's fun to fall down these kinds of rabbit holes. But almost all the talking points you see are just theories, so they could very well be wrong. Always take these types of videos with a grain of salt and/or sand, and remember to leave an angry comment telling us exactly why we should hate ourselves and why we're wrong. 1663, when a partial fossilized skeleton of a woolly rhinoceros was unearthed in Germany. And they didn't find all the bones, I guess. And the person who reconstructed it was like, man, this is as best as I can do.
This animal had no midsection whatsoever. It was all head, legs, and tail.
You should put that in the video. This looks like a Pokemon fossil, if I've ever seen one.
You know what font I hate? Garamond.
I'm about to make the entire thing Garamond.
I don't like you.
I don't even have it installed. I don't even have it downloaded.
You can't find Garamond,
okay.
I've saved. Hello, I'm not going to be at the game show marathon, but a few weeks ago, I played Blockbusters with a few people that will be there. On that show, you answer trivia questions, but you get the first letter of each answer for free. I reckon we go E for empanada.
Empanada.
Girl, if the word is empanada, I'm gonna die.
Pinata?
What E is a Latin American dumpling, often filled... I'm kidding, Jason.
Oh my god! I was gonna die. I was gonna die.
Not actually.
The one time I won a buzzer race!
Approximately 15 minutes later. What do you think, J for
Handmaid's
jaundice?
Tale. J question. Here we go.
Oh, Patrick buzzed.
All right, Patrick.
Jaundice.
What J is the disease named
No!
after? No, I'm kidding.
No, I refuse.
It's not that.
You
Yeah.
It's J for empanada.
This has been Me Plays Games. Goodbye.